management.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have around 10 years of experience
Mm-hmm.
working with Java and other stacks like Cloud, Kubernetes, and Azure. Um, yeah, so I'm based out of Copenhagen. This is me.
Okay.
If you want to give a small intro about you, means I have gone through all the CVs that has been shortlisted for
Mm-hmm.
this particular profile or the job opening, but I just as has gone through so many CV
Mm-hmm.
that it becomes very difficult to remember everybody by their work.
Okay.
So if small introduction will help me out.
Sure. Yeah, thank you for that. So my name is Amarjit. I am having 7.2 years of experience in this Java development. So the technology which I use like
Yes.
Java with a Spring Boot microservices, a Spring Cloud component as a backend, some of the exposures as a front end in Angular 9. Also I have a AWS Cloud Service experience. So most of the services I use for the development and deployments and all for the microservices. And coming for the database, I have good experience in this SQL and MongoDB as a NoSQL, and also I have a DevOps tools which is used for the development and monitor the applications like Apache, Maven, Jenkins, Jira, GitHub, ELK, Splunk, and all. So these all are the technology stack which I have experience, and also have a domain perspectives like I have good experience in this domain like banking, telecom, e-commerce, and health insurance project. So the currently which I am working the project based on health insurance. So there is a project is nothing but a portal like we are providing a customer to come in the portal, and they can take whatever the insurance he want. Once he will take the insurance, then we will process internally. There are multiple mechanisms to the internal mechanism as a multiple microservices, so that order will be created, then order will process, and after that that will go for the store, and then payment will be initiated. Once payment will be initiated, in that time uh, reward, so promo code and all will be calculated, and then they will get some rewards and all. After that we'll have a notification server which will be notify, then email configurations will be created and all. So this type of things will be handled through the multiple microservices here. So coming for my role and responsibility, so mostly we are doing a end-to-end backend development based on the Spring Boot microservices. So here we are following agile. So based on agile, whatever the sprint will be defined in that, the Jira task we will have initiated, so that we can develop our microservices applications. Apart from this, some of the cases will have a multiple third-party API call will be there, so that we have to handle through the multiple operations will be synchronous and asynchronous communications with the multiple microservices. Either will have a REST template or Kafka and all. And apart from this, like also involved for the deployments, while whatever the changes we have done for this deployment will happen in the multiple environment. So while it will go for the production, in that cases we need to take care of the all the changes which I have done from my side, and what are the configurations we have added, and what are the logs, message printings that we have enabled in that for the particular requirement, so that we can check all those things. And also once the deployment will happen and productions, then we can check like what are the responses coming, is that proper which we are expecting and all, so that we can confirm our deployment has been successfully done like that. And if not, then there will be some hotfix deployment will happen through this. So immediately we can find it the logs, and then give us some requirements, solutions requirement, so that there'll be some hotfix deployments and all will happen. So like that, these type of things we are working on daily basis. Yeah.
Cool, cool, cool. That's great. That's great. Um, I'll ask one small question
Mm-hmm.
that do you have your laptop with you? Because there, at some point of time we will be also doing a hands-on exercise.
Yeah.
So if you're joined from phone, then you can do one thing. You can just
Yeah, I have.
um, you have okay. Then it's fine. Then it's fine. Okay, cool. And I didn't get you from where are you based off? Bangalore?
Yeah, in Bangalore, nearby Central Silk Road.
Okay. Where?
Nearby Central
Near
Silk
which?
Road.
Central.
Central Silk
Okay, I
Road,
don't know.
BTM and all.
Okay. Means my sister lives in Bangalore. I visit Bangalore a lot. I know about few areas like Whitefield and yeah, Indiranagar, Kormangla.
Yeah, yeah, nearby Korbangla,
Ah, okay.
you can say.
And I didn't catch the company that you're working for currently.
Currently, I'm working as a Synchron as a senior associate developer.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
हाँ बंद कर
So
दो.
let's start then.
बंद कर दो ना.
Cool. I'll go to the hands-on question later, but I have few questions prepared for this interview, which I'll go in one by one or in as the discussion proceeds. Um, what is your favorite language if I start with and why?
Favorite language in terms of technology.
Yeah. If I
Java.
ask you to if I give you a task like, okay, let's connect with database, expose some APIs, yeah, like that type of task, which language you'll start with?
Java.
What's your favorite language? Java. Okay. Any other language you have explored?
Java mostly I have Java, Spring Boot, microservices.
Okay, so you have mostly worked with Java.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the latest Java version that you have used?
7, 8 I worked. Java 7, 8.
Do you know what is the latest version of Java that is out there?
Yeah, 16, 17 right now going. 19 is also released.
Okay. And do you know what is the latest Spring Boot version that Spring community is promoting to
Uh,
use?
right now 3.x version is going on, but which we use like 2.5, 2.8 I used, 2.5x I used.
Do you know what are the new features that has come out of Spring 3, Boot 3.0 and the Spring Framework 6? Do you know?
There are multiple features are came like instead of like swaggers like instead of swaggers what we are doing to configuration swaggers and all, so directly we can add the dependency, then swaggers will work like uh, these things. And apart from this we'll have a Spring Wave Flux which I have, so that wave flux related will have a mono flux, so that will be reactive programming based. So we have a non-synchronized non-blocking queue will be created as a asynchronous communications with the template call. So that we have, apart from this we have a cloud related, while you are going for the cloud configuration or maybe schedulers and all, so you can enhance yours by using a Spring Cloud component, or maybe a Spring Cloud buses. Some modifications also will have an event basis and all. So these
Mhm.
things I think.
But Spring Web Flux was means we used to use before Spring release 3.0. Just so you know that Web Flux can be used before that as well. That's fine. So, and if I ask you 5 Spring projects that you have worked with, 5 different types of Spring project, or what are apart from Spring Boot, have you used any other Spring based projects?
Yeah, we'll have a simple Spring MVC based project will be there, or a Spring Boot architecture project will be there. So if you'll go for
Mhm.
like a simple Spring based MVC based project, or Spring framework based project, so in that we'll create like multiple annotations which has been developed in a Spring Boot, like instead of at the rate a Spring Boot application annotations and all we are not using here. So instead of property file application dot property we are using, in that a Spring Boot will have a application dot
Yeah,
file
yeah,
file
yeah.
is there.
I just want the name. No, I don't want the whole explanation because it will take a lot of time.
Mhm.
So apart, so one is Spring Boot, one is Spring MVC.
Yeah.
Apart from that, have you worked with anything else?
Spring Boot, Spring MVC, Spring Data JPA, Spring Web, Spring Messaging, Spring uh,
Have you
mm,
worked with all these?
yeah.
Okay, that's nice. That's nice. Okay, you work in Agile team, right?
Yeah, Agile.
Yeah. So what makes an effective Agile team?
Agile will have a like based on there will be some sprint will be there, so the sprint duration will be 14 or 15 days. So as per this Agile, we will have a task will be initialized, so that task will have a multiple subtasks, so that that will be created trackers at the Jira trackers. So there that we can go for this particular development, so that will be defined for the multiple developers with a particular time will be defined how much effort is required, and once you develop then what are the environment will go for the testings and all, so that things will be there, so that easily they can track. So a scrum master will be there, so they can check the status of daily call and check all those things. And
Yeah.
after that we'll have a
And
retrospectives and all deployments and all, so that easily we can track our
mm,
development and testing synchronize.
cool. And what is DevOps to you?
DevOps is used for the is a way which we can automate our deployments and all while we are developing any microservice, any applications. After that, if you will implement DevOps part, so that either Jenkins CI/CD will have or multiples managing, monitoring and testings framework tools are there. So through that, if you will enable, then easily we can automate our deployment through the cloud component deployment or maybe server deployments and all. We have a Docker, so you can create a Docker image, then you can build the mm, your application through the Jenkins and create a Docker. You can push this Docker image to the any cloud environment or any server, so that all those things will be automated through the DevOps. We can maintain by using Kubernetes and all the containers.
Have you experience? Do you have experience writing CI/CD code, building pipelines?
Yeah, I have, but mostly there is a DevOps teams which there, so they are doing, but I have some of the experience.
Which all tools you have used for
Jenkins I
CI/CD?
used for the CI/CD, and
Mm-hmm.
GitHub I use for the code commits and all. Zira is a task which I have, and testings and all is a Sonar Cubes and all, Eclima and all, and Docker's Kubernetes I use, cloud services AWS I used,
Okay.
and
So, what is your means currently? If you have identified, I'm just asking your date. I'm just trying to get into what's your day-to-day look like. That's why I'm asking all these questions. So, what is your current contribution in the SDLC?
SDLC software development life cycle in current contributions, right?
Yes. What? How do you contribute? Means how your day-to-day looks like.
On day to day, like what we are doing, whatever the requirement is coming, first we are understanding the requirement, then after that we are getting some of the documentation so that we can go for the architectures design and all, or some of the design which is required, or maybe we will create a HLD and high low level design LLD. So
Okay.
after that we will understand the requirement, then we'll create some of dummy project structures. There we can like analyze what type of technology is required, what are the database and tools and things are required, so that we will start the developments and all. So these type of things we are doing on day to day. So
How much time you focus towards coding, and
towards
how do you
coding on
divide your?
daily basis, mostly 3 to 4 hours I am focusing on the codings and all, and after that we'll have a multiple calls will be there that we have to attend, then testings will be there that to be test, deployments will be there that we have to understand. So these things.
Okay, then that's cool. Okay, how do you keep yourself updated with current technology and trends?
How?
Means how do you keep yourself updated with the current technology and trend? Like
Okay.
if you just get, yeah,
Yeah, so
how do you keep yourself updated?
yeah, so mostly what we are doing, multiples portals are there, so that we are on this community. So we added that we are the members of the particular community on this, so that we can whatever the latest things will become as a Spring, Java, or maybe others framework or technology. So if any
Mm,
updates and all will happen or uploaded, so that we can go for, or we can get some alert and all, so that we can increase our knowledge, like what are the changes is
mm,
coming, these things. Apart from this, if I am there in any corporate company, so there will have a provider learnings skills portal, so
mm.
Udemy and all. So in that cases we will start learning some of the new things if it's not in my bucket, or maybe if I'm not uh, aware about that. So these things we have.
Mm. Okay, okay. Any recent certifications or any recent course
Mm,
that you have been through?
I haven't done any certification right now, but I have gone through this corporate level training of the multiple skills. So recently, which I have gone through AWS training, and
Mm,
also we'll have a microservices based training was there, and
mm,
some of the React.js based training which I have done.
Good, 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 makes sense. Okay,
But there
that's
is no
nice. Any,
certifications and all we have.
that's fine, that's fine. Do you have any public GitHub project that I can look at to see your coding style and how you code and the quality and all those
Sorry,
things? Do you
what?
have any projects? Do you have any public GitHub project that I can just clone and see how you code?
No, right now I don't have any public repository which I have created in from myself.
Hmm. Okay, makes sense. Okay, no problem. But you okay. This was more like a very generic questions that I have asked just to understand you better. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
because that's how I structure the interviews. I start with something very comfortable question so that I get to know you better and all those things. Now I will start something Java in general, and
Mm-hmm.
then I'll go to Java 11. Then I will touch a little bit on Spring Web Flux. Then I will touch a little bit on Kafka data
Mm-hmm.
structure,
Mm-hmm.
and then I will uh, do a very small hands-on, very systematic a developer interview that I'll be conducting from here now.
Mm-hmm.
And at any point, if you don't know the answer, it's not a make or break. There will be more questions, so be relaxed. Just say no, you don't know. That will be more than okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'll start with a very small, on a very simple question. What is the difference between a for and a while loop?
For is used for like which will have a three conditions is required here, like initializations, conditional check, and increment decrement. That is called a for loop. So while we are processing any data or iterating any data, in that cases we will check validations and all like and while loop first will check only one condition, either this is true or false. So that will be boolean type will be there, either true or false. Then we will check the conditions and start the processing. They will not check initialization, increment, and all.
Okay. In your microservice, where would you use system.out.println?
In microservices, mostly we are not doing any SOP and all. Because we have a log mechanism will be there, so that log4j will enable, so there will be some
I'll
warning.
just go to a room. It might be very noisy from my end. Give me like 1 minute. I'll just locate myself better where it's less noise. Okay.
Mhm.
Give me 1 second, Ramanjit. Hey, Amarjit, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm able to hear you.
Amarjit, you're on mute.
Yeah, I'm able to
Yeah,
hear
now
you.
you can now you can turn on your camera. I think it will be less noisy now.
Okay, sure.
Okay. Now let's say cool. Where were we? System.out.println. Yes.
Yeah, so
Will you use
system.out.
system.out.println in here?
Yeah, so system.out.println we are not using mostly. It depends on if you are doing some testing in local, then we can some of SOP we can print. But mostly what we are doing in this, we have a logs. So that log4j will have a warning, error, debug, and fatals and
Hmm,
all. So that type of error code which will be there. So while we are printing anything, we'll have these things we are using. So
cool. What is the difference between a log and a metric?
uh, log in a metric. Log in a
No, no,
metric.
I'm talking log and a metric. When you will use log, when you will use metrics.
Logs is used like while you are writing any business logic or any controller services class service or debug database repository classes. So in that cases, like what are the things is happening after this service executions or after the particular method calling or executions. So is that particular uh, details is fetching or not for that, so that our while any developers will develop applications or modify that, so that easily they can understand after debugging or maybe printing the log. So that why we are using, so if any issues will happen, then easily we can track the from where it is invoking which service or method. So for that cases we are printing, and matrix is used while we have a elk or a splunks and all, while we are creating to fetch our logs. So that matrix will have a multiples way we can check the logs by using query based matrix or maybe timestamp or maybe there with the microservices.
Cool. What is the first thing that is called in a default constructor?
Default constructor is nothing but is a Java code concept. While we are writing a class, so we can create a constructor with a class name, but if you are not providing any class name, so default constructor automatically will be invoked by the compiler. So default constructor will be non-argumented constructor, we can say, automatic call by the compiler. And yeah, so while object will be
You
create,
heard about a
sorry.
have you heard about have you heard about a method named super?
Yeah, super keyword in this keyword, yeah.
Yeah, super with a non-argumentative
Yes.
super will be called as the first in a default constructor. Cool. Now let's move to the next as Java 11. Okay. I I don't know if you have worked with Java 11. Have you worked with Java 11? Are you comfortable with asking you Java 11 questions?
Actually, till Java 8 I work, but most of the services I am using Java 11 as
Mm.
because Java 11 is required because due to multiple independent
Yeah,
services. And
yeah, because at some point we have to move ahead with the versions, right? Currently,
yeah,
Maersk is building most of their repos on top of Java 17, so
yeah,
that's why.
yeah.
But I'm not asking anything from Java 17 because
Mhm.
I know that people are still in Java 11, 8, and those world. So, what is a local variable type inference?
Can you repeat once again? Lower, what is local?
What is local variable type inference? Do you know about that?
Yeah, yeah, that
Local
is,
variable type inference.
yeah, that came in this Java 11 features.
Yeah.
So in that cases, what will happen? Local variable we can initialize. Before this Java 11, there was some local variable. So that local variable will call once you have create a object based on the reference we can create, or local variable while you are creating, you can initialize that. So in Java 11 onwards, I think there will be some default will be there in that local. So automatically, I think there will be some default initializations will be there in the job local variable for that.
Let me paste something to you, and then I will ask the question. Okay.
Hmm.
Let me just paste something. Can you see
Yeah, where soon as to, yes.
when you need to use? When would you use this notation?
This we can use while we are doing some lambda expressions and all. So in that cases, if you have a sum of the particular variables you want to add, or maybe then that cases by using this we can add.
Hmm. Okay. Now let me ask you another one. Java 11. Okay. Can you look at this? The second one.
Yeah,
Is
that's
this
what I
correct?
just. Uh, yeah, that will be also correct. Because what we are doing here, this will be in this Java 11 based. So where we have declared there in S1 and S2, but we are in this second scenario we'll have a both S1 and S2 is a type of where we can see, so that will be applicable.
This is allowed, right, as per
Yeah,
you?
that will be as allowed.
Okay, now let me give you another. Is this allowed?
This one is where and a screen a string, so that is string. This one S1 and S2. So why a string? No, that will. Yeah, that is also allowed by because we can add a string also. Uh, so
You don't know about S1, whether it's a string or not.
yeah, a string we S1 is a like where type, like we don't know like what type of uh, attribute is there, but we can I think add.
Okay, I'll just give you an answer upfront. None of them is allowed. In the first one,
Mm.
you're skipping it. In S2, you have not written anything before that, whether it's a data type. You didn't mention the data type, so the first one is also not allowed. And in the second one, it says mixing. So mixing is also not allowed, but
Mm-hmm.
that's fine. Now let me move a little bit towards Java 8 and above. That is around streams. Okay.
So, okay.
So mm, you're comfortable with the streams? Me asking questions from streams?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I didn't turn on my camera, so let me turn on my camera. So this is one of the rules. Can you see me?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, you can see me. Okay, that's fine now. What is a negative thing by using streams? What is the disadvantages of using streams?
Disadvantage like there are multiple disadvantage and advantage will be there while we are using anything. But a stream have what we happen like while we are processing any data. So all the data we are putting in this stream. So if suppose we have a huge amount of data while we are processing, so that we are putting in the stream and then we'll convert it from one into another form by using map or maybe and after that we are collecting this and then again we are reforming in this list or maybe set or map whatever the output. So these all are the I think it's disadvantage.
Okay. Okay. Let me give you one question example and then I will ask. Okay. Let me give you a code snippet. Go ahead. Can you see this?
List dot integer number, okay, numbers. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You read the question? This particular code snippet. Now I'll ask the question. Is it okay now?
Yeah.
Will it run parallel or sequential or both?
A stream, right?
This particular code block will run parallelly or sequentially.
Okay, just a minute. Numbers dot parallel e equal to e into 2, the sequential, the sequential for mostly will have e equal to e into 2 also. Sequentially will be there. Sequentially that will be done.
Okay. Any reasons?
Reasons like what we are doing that we are processing this numbers dot parallel, so in that cases and after that we are converting in the map equal to e into 2 And then sequential is a way where we can get the data as a sequential, like all this will be some, and then for each will have a print system.out.println with the method reference.
Yeah. So your answer is sequential, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay. Do you know about first class functions and why are they important?
Which class? First class in Java 8?
Yes, first class functions.
First class, no.
No? Okay. Okay. So I think the second one that I wrote as a question is also related to Java 8 only. So, or means first class functions. But let me just ask you if you know, just let me know. What are the high order functions and why are they important?
What are the high order function?
Yes.
High order functions. High order
If you don't
function.
know, it's no problem. I'll move to the next question. You don't have to answer everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Just let me know if you don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I should. Okay.
High
Okay.
order.
A little bit around data structure. And when I ask the question,
Mm-hmm.
I would like you to answer in terms of complexity, big O complexity for various operations if you know it, use cases, and few more, etc. If you, but these two are the main things that I'll be looking in the answer: the complexity point of view, the big O complexity, and the use cases. When you explain the answers, okay?
Okay.
So the first is, what's the difference between a tree set and a hash set?
Tree set and hash set. Yeah, tree set. The set is a interface which will be provide a unique data. So in this we'll have a tree set and hash set is a class. So tree set will be add the data as a ascending order. So that will be sorted, and
Mhm.
hash set will be unsorted order. Data will be inserted. So in tree set we can at least one null value will be allowed, but sorry, hash set and tree set null value won't be allowed. So their tree set will have a root. So based on that root, they are following the mechanism of red black tree, RBL tree based on. So they will convert it as a root left and right. So whatever the data will be left then of root, that will be shifted in left node, and greater than will be shifted in right node.
Cool. And any use cases for using either of them?
There are multiple way of use cases will be there, like tree set will be used for like in your real time while you are doing uh, fetching any details of employee who has uh, processed the order, and you want a
Mhm.
unique order based on this sorted mechanism. In that cases we can
Okay.
fetch through the tree set.
Okay. Can you give me an example of one thread safe collection?
One thread safe collection.
Yeah.
Okay, thread safe collection. Thread safe collections, yeah. Thread safe collection. Yeah, concurrent hash
I,
map modification. Concurrent hash map is there. There we can use a thread safe collections while we are processing the data as a asynchronous mechanism.
okay. What are blocking queues and why are they useful? Do you know about that? Blocking queues.
Where in terms of a Spring Boot, or
Yeah, in terms of data structure, you can use it in Spring MVC as well. Blocking queues. Do you know about blocking queues?
I know, but blocking non-blocking queue will be not in data structures.
Okay. Okay, no problem. What's the difference between queue, DQ, and stack?
Q, DQ, and stack. A stack is used for like insertion, deletions, manipulations of the data. So that first in, first out, based on that, they will insert the data like whatever the first come, that will be out of first if you are. So we have like push and pop, based on that data will be inserted or deleted. And
Mm-hmm.
another what you told.
DQ and Q.
Q is used for like LIFO, last in first out. So in Q we'll have a it's a part of multiples part of Q. So we have a DQ is there. So DQ is will have a like while we are processing the data. So the both side through that, like we can say circular queue and DQ. So DQ will happen like the both side we can fetch, I think. It's a part of queue only. So queue will work on LIFO. So LIFO queue have two parts. One is DQ and circular queues are there.
Okay. You have experience working with Webflux.
Yeah, some of the features I worked like 1 year approx I worked with Flux.
Yeah. And what you have used?
Webflux mostly I use for the non-blocking data. While we are communicating with
Mm-hmm.
other services, other RESTful web services or other third-party call, or in that cases, so we are sending a request, so we'll have a mono or flux are there. So the flux will be created multiple requests simultaneously as a parallel mechanism.
No, no, no. It's fine. You're explaining me that is absolutely fine, no problem. But in the interest of time, I'll just ask a question for Webflux.
Mhm.
Wait, I just ask you this question that have you worked with Spring Webflux or not? It's because I have a question related to Spring Webflux.
Mhm.
So so you are giving me
Yeah.
an answer like you have worked a little bit. So
Yes.
I
Yes.
can go ahead and ask it, right?
Yes.
Okay. How do you handle exceptions in Spring Webflux application? Any
Yeah.
method?
Speak.
Yeah,
Mostly we'll have a
examples of
controller
the method.
advice. Controller advice will be there. So that controller advice will have a exception handler. So what type of common exceptions we have, which will become, that you can declare in the controller exception. So we have a 400 and all. So that you can declare. Also, if you have some customized exception which you are creating, so that custom exception you can declare in that. And instead of that, directly you can call, while you are instead of try catch and all, you can call this particular common exception in everywhere.
But that's like handling exception anywhere. Do you know
Mm.
about how to handle exceptions in Spring Webflux? Like for example, when you're doing a REST template call
Mm-hmm.
and you want to do an exception handling on that particular
Mm-hmm.
call itself, how will you do that? Any method that you know of that is coming out of Spring Webflux
Yeah, there
or
have
Project Reactor? Yeah. Go ahead.
on
No
error
problem.
is there, on error, and
Mm-hmm.
on on exceptions. There method is there on exceptions, on error. Uh,
On yeah. Okay. That's one of them. That's fine. Have you worked with Kafka?
yeah.
Okay, let me ask you one question. Imagine, I'll,
Mm-hmm.
I'll iterate the question very slowly. Imagine a topic with 12 partitions and one consumer group. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
12 partitions, one consumer group, and four consumers subscribing to that topic. Okay,
But only one
what
consumer is
happens
there. I'm trying for four consumer.
now? One consumer group and four consumers inside it
Okay.
using the same consumer
Mm-hmm.
group. Okay, what happens if one of the consumers are taken out of action?
Taken out of action. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if like what happens if one of the consumers are taken out of action?
In that cases, we have four consumers are there. So there will be some retriable will be there. So if one of them out of four, one consumer is not assigned or taking the action, in that cases, we have a retrieval options will be there, so that retrieval will fetch the details. If again it is not taking, then third options will be there, retrieval. If not, then we'll have some exceptions will occur.
Cool. You have experience working with Kubernetes?
Kubernetes, yeah, OpenShift and all we work, yes, thorough little bit.
When do you use Kubernetes?
Kubernetes will use while we are creating a Docker image is a container based application. So in that container we'll have our applications as a image form, and all the version which is required like Java and all, and what are the server details and all. For that we are creating an image. That image will be have a container. So we have a multiple container or multiple microservices will be there that need to be deployed on the cloud and all. So how this will be maintained, all the containerization, so that containerizations will be maintained by the Kubernetes. So Kubernetes will be have orchestrations like will they can manage all the containerizations. So we'll install the server level as a kubectl and we kubectls and all. Through that we can manage our Kubernetes.
Okay. When do you use a Kubernetes cluster or Kubernetes namespace to deploy your workloads? And when do you use any app services or any provision managed platform as service to deploy? Have you used any of the cloud native deployment patterns or deploy? Have you experience around deployments?
Yeah, AWS cloud services I used. So in that AWS case I use
Have you used
first.
in? Do you know anything about serverless architecture?
Yes.
When do you use it?
Serverless architectures will use, suppose if you want if you have your applications, but you want to your application will be scalable and faster and all. In that cases whatever the request will be coming at a dynamic scale in scale out will happen. In that cases we can go for
Mhm.
this Kubernetes AWS cloud services or any other cloud services, so that
Mhm.
automatically our instance will be increased or maybe instance will be created, and if request is going for down then that will be decreased. So these things will be, and all the service like
Okay.
all the things will be required, what are the services like database configurations or data is required, so that will be available on cloud only. So easily we can migrate it with any other cloud service, any services of database or any applications which is required we can.
Okay. Um, mhm. Have you do you have experiences working with any of the document DB?
Which DB?
Um,
Document DB mostly will
document
have
DB.
a Mongo DB I used. It's a documentation
Okay.
based, so it's a NoSQL.
When do you use a document DB? And when do
There are
you use
multiple
a
scenarios will be there, like while as I already told on intro, while we use the promo code. So that promo operation services will have just a promo code information. So will be a start date, end date, and all. So there is no related for the transactions and business logic. One only we are storing the detail of promo code. If user is applicable for the particular promo, they can apply it this code, and that validity will be this 3 days, 2 days, 4 days, and all. So these all are this just for the information which need to be kept, not for the future perspectives on transaction properties and all. So in that cases we can go for NoSQL database, which will be as a document base, and easily we can fetch the details and process the data.
should I give you one and if I ask you on a scale of 1 to 10, um, how would you rate yourself in terms of cloud knowledge, cloud, Kubernetes, and CI/CD?
Out
How
of
will you
1
rate
to
yourself?
10, I can rate it 7.5.
Okay, so then you are like very well versed with these things, right? Because if I rate myself, I'll rate it as a 6 or something. But it's up to you. So you know, right? The cloud things and stuff because we use Azure a lot. Yeah, because we are looking for developers who just don't come and say that we can code on Java. We want them to take a responsibility and deliver it end to end, starting from requirement gathering to development to deployment and to support. So everything spinning up the cloud infrastructure and everything. Do you have experiences working with any of these of the infrastructure as code technology like HashiCorp or Terraform or something like that? Or do you have experiences working with that?
Ansible and Terraform I used, but not much.
Okay,
But I have,
yeah,
if I'll go through this
cool,
documentation, KTs and all that.
cool, cool, cool. So you have some hands-on experience. That's fine. Okay, let me give you a small question and see how you use it, how you build it. And once you start sharing your screen, let me know. Start sharing your screen and just let me know. I'll paste the question.
So this is for which type of requirement? Because and how many
This is
hours?
just, no, no, no. I'll give you a question just to see if you're hands-on or not. It will be a simple question, solving an if and else, and just to start, write everything inside public static void main. Just right click in an IntelliJ or Eclipse. Start, what to say, a new class. Initialize a public static void main and solve a small problem. Just like in HackerRank, you do it, but it's very simple. I just want to see whether you can code or not.
Mhm.
Do you have your IntelliJ with you or any code editor?
Right now only I have Notepad plus plus.
No problem. I can just see, you can just write it over there. It shouldn't be all running, but I just want to see whether you can code or not. Is it okay?
Mhm.
Can you share your
So
screen?
how many hours is required for this interview and what type of positions you are hiring right now?
It's
What you are
a
looking right
Java,
now for this?
it's a senior software engineer position,
Mm-hmm.
mostly Java and all the cloud uh, surroundings related to Java.
Mm-hmm.
You applied for that or it says junior position you want?
Okay, and how many hours is required for this interview?
It was scheduled for 2 hours, but this is my last question. So how the faster you solve, the faster you are out of it.
Mm-hmm.
We are already around like 40, I think. How many minutes we have passed? 37 minutes we are already through, right? No, 47 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So how many time, how many hours you have allocated for this interview?
2 hours as mentioned, so that's why I asked. Like, this is the first time I seen like 2 hours interview.
Yeah, because this is the only round that you have to crack. After that, you are through mostly.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's up to you. It's up to you. If you want,
Mm.
we can schedule it again.
No, it's fine.
It's fine. Okay, let's share your screen. Once you are ready, share your notepad
Okay.
window, and then I'll paste the question.
So,
Usually, we used to do two interviews, and I used to do the second round, but we have fast tracked it to doing just one round, and I'm doing both the rounds now.
mhm.
Okay, now here you go. Hmm. And I don't want you to use Google because if you use Google, you'll find the answers right away. I just want to see your coding style.
Okay.
And I would like you to use Java 8 and above functional programming.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, you send it already.
This is the question. Just paste it in the notepad itself. Everything is there. Yeah.
Like that we can do.